You're about to listen to a brand new Just One Thing with me, Michael Mosley. New episodes will be released on Wednesdays, but if you're in the UK, you can listen to new episodes a week early, first on BBC Sounds. Really tasty. We would all like some quick and simple ways to improve our health, but we're inundated with often conflicting advice. So, if you were going to try just one thing to improve your mental and physical well-being, what should it be? Maybe a cup of tea to help your heart health, or listening to music to open up your blood vessels. How about a walk on a rainy day to improve your immune system? I'm Dr. Michael Mosley, and this is Just One Thing, where each episode we'll explore one thing you can start doing today to improve your health or life in ways you might not expect. It's nearly lunchtime, and I'm just rustling up something that can improve my heart health, help my body recover from exercise, and maybe even protect my skin. I'm cooking tomatoes. I do love the smell of a nice tomato. And they are delicious, even when they're raw. They have this umami, almost meaty flavour, and I think that's what makes them so tasty. But today I'm cooking them because while raw tomatoes are packed with nutrients like vitamin C, potassium and folate, tomatoes also have a special pigment called lycopene. It gives the tomatoes this vivid red colour. Scientists think that lycopene is one of the main compounds behind tomatoes' health benefits, like potentially reducing your risk of cancer and keeping your skin looking younger. And here's a really interesting thing. Cooking tomatoes dramatically increases the amount of lycopene you can absorb. Now, I'm going to add some salt and pepper and, very important, a little glug of olive oil. And now I'll just pop these in the oven to soften them. In you go. In about 20 minutes or so, they'll be ready to eat. So tucking into some tasty cooked tomatoes is definitely a good idea. I'm about to speak to Chris, a recently retired IT manager from Nottinghamshire, to find out if eating more cooked tomatoes is just one thing for him. Hi Chris.
Hello Mike.
Are you currently a big tomato eater?
I wouldn't have said the biggest tomato eater in the world. It's something that sort of slips into the diet, but not something I focus on eating.
Do you like to eat them raw? Or how do you like your tomatoes normally?
Probably the worst possible way is fried up. A very good English breakfast.
Okay, well, you'll be pleased to hear that when you cook the tomatoes, whether you fry them up, there are actually benefits to doing so, because it releases more of the important ingredient, which is lycopene. Now, tomatoes come with a range of health benefits, and amongst other things, they've been shown to improve cholesterol and may even reduce the risk of cancer. Is that something that appeals to you?
Very much so. So cholesterol is always something I'm a little bit battling with. So both of those benefits seem very much worthwhile.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things I bang on about is prostate cancer, because I'm at that age where your risk begins to rise, and there is some decent evidence linking tomato consumption, particularly cooked tomato consumption, with reduced risk of prostate cancer. Is that something that runs in your family or worries you in any way?
It's not something that runs in my family, but recently I had a raised PSA level. Fortunately, in my case, everything was clear and there was nothing to worry about. But yes, I guess it's given me a heightened awareness.
For those who don't know, PSA stands for prostate-specific antigen, and it's a marker of your prostate risk. Now, so your challenge is to add a portion of tomatoes to your diet 5 times over the course of the week. Tomatoes are full of goodness, but cooking tomatoes is even more beneficial. You can sauté or roast them or have them in tomato soup, pasta sauce, however you want to do it. Okay?
Okay, I think I can accept that challenge. 5 times a week doesn't seem too onerous. So, that sounds like a good one.
I've asked Chris to top up his diet with more cooked tomatoes, because while there is a lot to love about a raw tomato, if you really want to boost the benefits, you need to cook them. Most people think tomatoes are vegetables, but because they have seeds, botanically speaking, they are fruit. In fact, the tomato is one of the most popular fruits on the planet. But when they first came over to Europe from the New World, Brits were wary, considering them to be beautiful but poisonous. Of course, we now know they are definitely not poisonous. In fact, eating them may boost your heart health. In a recent review of 6 studies, scientists found that consuming 1 to 1.5 cups of tomato juice daily for an average of 6 weeks could lower your risk for cardiovascular disease. People who drank the tomato juice had reduced levels of LDL, or bad cholesterol, and they had increased levels of HDL, the good cholesterol. Drinking tomato juice could even be a better way to help your body recover from vigorous exercise. When Greek scientists asked 15 athletes to spend 2 months either consuming an energy drink or tomato juice during and after strenuous exercise sessions, they found those who'd been given the tomato juice showed signs of quicker muscle recovery and reduced inflammation markers in their blood. Tomatoes, as I mentioned earlier, also contain a lot of lycopene, a powerful antioxidant helping your body fight off free radicals, chemicals that attack the cells and cause damage. And if you are wondering why cooked tomatoes are better for you, well, it's because the heat actually breaks down the tomato's thick cell walls, making the lycopene and other compounds in the tomatoes more accessible to your body. That means tomato sauce from fresh or tinned tomatoes and even ketchup can actually provide more lycopene than fresh tomatoes. The lycopene may also help explain why eating tomato products can protect not only your heart but your skin. In one study, people who consumed around 40 grams of tomato paste with olive oil every day for 10 weeks experienced 40% fewer sunburns. A similar study found that not only did tomato paste and olive oil protect against DNA damage in the skin, but it also boosted levels of pro-collagen, a molecule that can make your skin look younger. The impact that lycopene has may also help explain why consuming tomatoes has been linked to lower risk of various cancers. I'll be talking to an expert about this in a moment. So let's check in with Chris and see how he's getting on with his cooked tomatoes.
Well, I'm 3 days in now into the challenge. The first challenge we actually had was to go and buy some tomatoes. So we went to the supermarket, we bought fresh, tinned and passata, a ready-made soup and some posh tomato ketchup. First dish we tried was a really simple one, which was a bolognese sauce. Very easy to prepare, very tasty, and used loads of tomatoes. I've always perceived that the healthiest way of eating tomato was in a salad or something like that and cold, but this is much more appetising when you actually cook them.
We'll catch up with Chris again at the end of the week. Now let's speak to Professor Richard van Breemen from Oregon State University. He's done extensive research into tomatoes and lycopene. Hello, Dr. van Breemen.
Hello, Michael. Thank you very much for the invitation to join your program.
Absolute pleasure. Can you tell us a little bit about the link between tomatoes and cancer risk?
Over the last 20 years, there's been quite a few investigations in the lab, preclinical and clinical, about whether lycopene has anti-cancer properties. I learned about a connection between cancer and lycopene from a long-term study with men physicians, where the men who ate the most lycopene in the form of tomato sauce, tomato paste, and fresh tomatoes had the lowest incidence of prostate cancer. And prostate cancer is the second major cause of death among men in the Western world. So that's where I began my interest in studies of prostate cancer in particular. And there's been some very good data which suggests lycopene might benefit women in the prevention of breast cancer.
And I believe you actually did some more detailed research yourself.
I did. I've been investigating how lycopene gets absorbed into cells, how it enters the cells. Does it help protect against DNA damage?
And I believe you did an intervention study using tomato sauce.
That's where we began our clinical work. At first, we wanted to say, can a realistic dietary amount of lycopene reach the blood and can it reach the prostate? And so we recruited a group of men who were at risk for prostate cancer, and we prepared food, mainly pasta dishes with tomato sauce, and then supplied the men in the study with the prepared foods with a measured amount of lycopene equaling 30 milligrams per day.
And what did you find?
We found that blood levels doubled with respect to lycopene during this administration of 30 milligrams lycopene per day for 3 weeks. And prostate levels likewise increased. We also were looking for markers to see if measurements of oxidative stress could be affected. So we saw an actual measure of reduced oxidative stress.
So broadly, I understand oxidative stress as being damage to the cell and particularly to the DNA, which in turn can lead to cancerous growth. So what you've seen so far is that if you get people to eat tomatoes, tomato sauce, you do see changes suggestive of protection to the DNA. What do you think is going on? Why do you think consuming tomato sauce has this effect?
The prostate is an organ that is relatively deficient in DNA repair. Many organs in the body have an extremely efficient way to check the DNA in the nucleus, repair it, maintain the proper DNA code. The prostate is a little bit less able to repair DNA damage, and this damage accumulates over time. Lycopene can help prevent that initial DNA damage, reducing the load that the body has to bear and the repairs that have to be made.
Got it. Very neat mechanism, isn't it?
It's a marvelous molecule. We're really excited that lycopene as an antioxidant is so potent that it might help prevent cancer at the start.
So how, as a practical measure, if you want to boost your levels of lycopene, how would you go about doing it?
Eating a tomato salad might give you 5 or 10 milligrams of lycopene. We were aiming for 30 milligrams of lycopene. 100 grams of sauce from the tomato has about 50 milligrams. You cannot overdo it. Lycopene is an extremely safe molecule. Obviously, one should eat a balanced diet, a varied diet that is rich in fruits and vegetables that includes lycopene-containing fruits like tomatoes.
Absolutely. And in terms of lycopene and tomatoes, it's better if you cook them, as that breaks down the structure and that releases the lycopene. And it's oil-soluble as well, isn't it? So possibly throw in a bit of olive oil, never hurts.
Good point. Lycopene is what we call an oil-soluble vitamin. And so to help extract it from the plant as we eat it, a little bit of oil like olive oil goes a long way.
What's your favourite way of consuming them?
I try to grow my own tomatoes and make fresh tomato sauce every season. And all I have to admit, I have a soft spot for pizza.
So there you go, a good reason to eat pizza. It's good to know you only need about 100 grams of tomato sauce a day to hit your targets. That's just half a cup. Let's check in one more time with Chris to see how he's getting on with his challenge.
Well, I made it to the end of my tomato challenge. This actually became a team effort with my wife Helen also embracing the challenge. We actually found it really easy to add 5 portions of cooked tomatoes over the week. We ended up making pasta bakes, soups, a vegetable risotto and even a tomato and prawn curry. I'll still get my cholesterol and PSA measured every year, and hopefully this challenge will have had a positive impact.
Now, I am delighted that Christopher has enjoyed his challenge, and I've been adding extra tomatoes to my diet all week as well. And a really good way to do that is to drink tomato juice. Make sure you're looking for something low in salt to keep your sodium levels down. Just about to pour myself a glass. And I like mine with a little dash of Worcester sauce. So there you are. Cook your tomatoes, drink your tomato juice. It'll taste delicious and may even protect you from some forms of cancer. And your arteries in your skin will thank you as well. So that's it. It's just one thing you can incorporate into your daily routine, which really could benefit your body and life. If you want to hear more of the series, why not subscribe on BBC Sounds? On the next episode of Just One Thing, inhale through your nose rather than your mouth for better memory, improved lung function, and to help fight off infections.